Well, this will give you an understanding of where my name comes from. A friend of mine actually called me the Jack Pine Savage a long time ago, just kind of the way I work and where I hail from. This is an axle out of a scraper that I cut up. Here's our tractor for loading. Got forks for that so we can use it in the sawmill. This fine mess here laying in the grass, which you can't really see, is a flatbed that'll be going on the pulp truck here. I'll show you shortly. This is the grill out of the Wabco scraper that I cut up. I got plans for that. That's something I'll show you. Here's the 471 out of the scraper. I got to finish putting that together. Kind of a misfit. Looks kind of rough and rugged, but that'll work when it's done. 24 volt system, so I got to figure out something for charging and everything. I used to charge, that was a diesel electric generator on the back of that motor. It was half electric, that scraper, and half this and half that, so I got to figure out somehow to make a 12 volt charge 24, which I know by that's a long series parallel switch is what it's called, solenoid. This here is the white constructor. Working on. Well, you can't see it, but there's actually an auxiliary transmission. This is a 2-stick truck. It's a 3-speed auxiliary box. We had some thieves up here and they stole some keys and whatnot else for the vehicles. Yikers. Loader's going over farther all the time, sinking in the ground. Need to get this project done. Need to get the engine in another truck. Let's see. So I talk about when I say there's projects to do up here. That was the fuel tank off of the old truck that pulp loader come off of. There's another tank. There was a fuel tank. They will be cleaned out. Actually gonna redo them, and one will be used for more fuel in the pulp truck. Here's half of the other truck. It's all ran, tackled, tore apart. Engine's very tired. Here's the other 471 off the sawmill. And the old radiator that's pretty putrefied. But I might measure up and see if I can find a core. And go over here. And this is the rear ends out of the old truck that the pulp loader come off of. Kind of a unique looking setup. I'll show it to you. That's some old school suspension there. Pretty neat. I've tried finding some information on it. Hadn't really found out. It's kind of like how Mack runs their suspension, but not a Mack. We spend a lot of time up here. As I stated before, my father, he passed away, and we kind of doing all this. Well, like I said, if you look in the background, this is the country I hail from. Up here in the sticks and the weeds and the skeeters. Nothing but swamp. And I've always been pretty crafty and get stuff done. And a friend of mine, he was in a kind of a pickle one day, and they called on me to get it done, and he just looked at me and he said, "Man, you're a Jack Pine Savage, you can do anything," he said. 'Cause he knew the country I come from. So now you know my story, where my name comes from. I don't know if a friend remembers me calling me that or not, but I always kind of chuckled and laughed about it, and I kind of remember that name, and it's kind of stuck with me. Because yeah, we come up here from the jack pines and the pine trees and sticks and whatnot else. Here's a turning lathe that we got to get inside and get figured out. So yeah, I was just looking for a plate that I needed for a engine. I don't know where the heck it went, but I'll do some looking. The shed's going to get rebuilt this summer. Yeah, I don't know what else to say. It's always a lot of things going on, and oh, I guess I can show you what I'm doing here. When I get my service truck up and going, I got to come up here. I built these two pieces. This will get welded on to the tail of the frame. These two pieces will go on the outside to make a double frame. I took a bunch of the brackets off of the frame, and it's going to be welded and bolted onto this frame extension. Loader will sit on here. Should be no problems at all for strength wise and everything. I'm running that double piece way up into the inside there. That's all 1/4 inch. And like I said, it'll be all welded together. There's spots here to weld. When we go to do it, this will be all ground, cleaned up. Everything cleaned up on here, and I'll video this. And once this gets welded up, like I said, get my other service truck going, and that'll be up here, and I'll get her going and weld it up. I got a little crack there in the frame to clean out. I got a needle scaler and stuff, and clean all that out. I got to weld that spot up. My air tank got some pinholes in it. I got to fix that. Other than that, the truck's about ready to rock and roll. I'll be grabbing this pulp loader with my other boom truck, and I'll lift her up and I'll set it on there, and that'll make life a lot easier. I should have no problem picking that. I can pick a little over, I can pick 20,000 pounds right next to myself, and I'll be pretty close to that loader when I'm picking. So, yeah, like I said, that's how I got my name, as I come up from here in the sticks and the weeds, and didn't know no better to do anything. We just kind of, if it was broke, we fixed it. We had to be self-sufficient. Like I said, I salvaged this engine out of the scraper. I had to kind of refabricate this mount for it for the mill. Kind of messed up for the hood to fit, so that's why I don't know if I'll record it out of the radiator, or if I'm just going to make mounts and use this radiator, because it doesn't really make any sense to do anything differently. And yeah, I'd already kind of figured out how to redo my fan mount to get my fan a little lower and run a different belt, and build a bracket over to this side for an alternator. And then, like I said, there's a, it's called a parallel solenoid switch, and it converts 12 to 24. So it throws 24 to the starter, but the batteries stay 12 volt. Run your group of batteries. Then you can run a 12 volt alternator. And I got a big 12 volt alternator. Like I said, that's the fuel tank off of the Traco I cut up. That's another subject, and that's where that snowblower project is, but this will be the fuel tank for this. I do have to come up with a fuel tank for that Dodge with that Detroit on it. I have the boom truck up here. I'm going to be lifting this up. Well, as you can see up front here, I got this piece at home. I built the motor mount for up front here. Motor mount sits on here. This was all different on this motor. Engine, I guess. Sorry, teacher. I did go to tech school one time and the teacher always yelled at me, it is not a motor, motor's electric. Anyways, for the engine here, I got new mounts made to adapt it into this framework. So that's all done. Just gotta be put together and we'll slowly get there, but got a lot going on. Hopefully you guys can start subscribing and start watching, and we'll keep you updated as we go along. And yeah, all I can say is have a good day and keep the greasy side down, and we'll keep you updated and give you a new post here as things progress. Take care.